Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Hello Future Ask Me Anything session. Um, Hello Future is a nonprofit organization, and our goal here is to transform the refugee youth experience. We have a variety of educational initiatives that we program in person in our refugee camp for our Syrian refugee students. And then we have another series of remote opportunities, such as this Ask Me Anything session. Um, the the goal and desire of this is to really bring in outside experts and broaden our students' horizons and insights and knowledge by bringing guest speakers in which they wouldn't normally have access to, just to help them understand deeper and better what does a person doing a said job do really, and what are the skill sets that one needs in order to achieve that. Um, and also any kind of life advice they might have for our students as well. So I love to welcome Rasha Elass, who is our guest today. Rasha is an investigative and war reporter with over 15 years of experience covering the Middle East. Her work has appeared in various media outlets, including the Los Angeles Times, Reuters, and NPR. She currently writes a regular column for Newlines Magazine, where she's also a commissioning editor. Welcome, Rasha.
Thank you for having me. This is really exciting.
Thank you for being here. So just a quick few questions to kind of set the stage, and then I'm going to turn it over to our students because this is really for them to ask you questions. So where were you born?
I was born in Damascus, and I spent part of my childhood, well, most of my childhood was in the Middle East, partly in Damascus, partly in Beirut during the war, and partly in Saudi Arabia, partly in Algiers. Yeah, so long answer to your short question.
Not at all. Mohammed?
طبعا بالبداية مرحبا بكم جميعا بهذه الجلسة الثانية من اسألني أي شيء مع الأنسة رشا. طبعا مثل ما تعرفون احنا هالو فيوتشر منظمتنا غير ربحية، نقدم هذه الدورات لكم. انتم صار لكم معنا كذا دورة ومسابقات، ونعمل هالجلسات بين فترة وفترة مشان انتم كطلاب تزيد معلوماتكم أكثر حول المجالات المختلفة بالحياة، تصير عندكم أفكار أكثر عن مجالات مختلفة. واليوم ضيفتنا الآنسة رشا هي صحفية حربية ومجال التحقيق والحرب، وتشتغل بمجلة نيولاينز. وأيضا إذا هي تحب تتعرف عن نفسها أكثر بالعربي تشرفنا.
ايه صح. شباب وصبايا مرحبا فيكم، وبتشرف بمعرفتكم كتير. أنا بحكي عربي طبعا. ايه اسمي رشا العاص، وخلقاني بدمشق، وعشت معظم طفولتي بالشرق الأوسط، مو بس بدمشق، يعني ببيروت والسعودية والجزائر. بس أنا حابة أعرف يعني أنتوا إلى أي مدى بتحكوا إنجليزي، ولا كيف شو مستوى الإنجليزي عند الطلبة؟
Because Russia is asking about how is the level of English.
The level of English for students.
Depends. It varies a lot from kids to kid. There's a couple of kids who have really good comprehension skills, and a few with also pretty competent speaking as well. But when we do these events, we tend to just go back and forth in translation.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I introduced myself in Arabic, so.
Thank you so much. When was the last time you were back in Syria?
Summer of 2014 is basically when I left. Yeah.
Okay. So you were there, while it was in conflict, or
Yes, I was covering. Yes, exactly. I was covering the war. I mean, I was there in peacetime, and I was there during the war. I moved back to the Middle East in 2005 and stayed there on and off through 2014. So, through peace and through war, basically.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I think most of our students left around 2014, 2015-ish. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
السؤال كان انه انت غادرت سوريا وانت رجعت لسوريا ب 2005 وبعدين غادرت مره ثانيه ب 2014 فشافت الوضع مستقر والوضع غير مستقر.
Yeah.
All right. So currently you're a senior editor at Newlines Magazine. What's a senior editor and how is that different from being a journalist?
Well, it's a little more boring because I mean I love my work, of course, but being an editor, you sit at the publication, and you're not necessarily out in the field talking to people, meeting them, and going places, and all the things that are exciting about reporting. Yeah. So Muhammad, actually, the word for editor, مدير التحرير. Yes, exactly.
مدير التحرير نعم.
Yeah. So go ahead.
السؤال كان انه شو الفرق بين مديرة التحرير او الصحفية، وقالت انه يمكن شوية البوزيشن او المنصب ممل اكثر، انه ما في انه الشخص يروح للموقع او يعرض الاحداث اللي عم تصير اكثر. صحيح، في اكثر علاقه بالكتابه والشغل المكتبي. صحيح.
So just to help our students to understand the relationship between an editor and a journalist, can you explain that to our kids, Rasha?
Yeah, absolutely. Should I just explain in Arabic? Then I can like summarize and translate myself a little bit in English. Yeah, but who here among the kids doesn't understand Arabic?
Everybody, all the kids. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll summarize and translate for you, but I can answer the kids directly. And the question was the relationship between editor and journalist. العلاقة بين مدير التحرير والصحفي. الصحفي عادة مش دايما، يعني هلا كثير الاوقات بتختلف بوجود تويتر والانترنت والى اخره، بس الصحفي كثير احيانا بكون برا بالموقع عند الحدث، عم يحكي مع الاشخاص شخصا لشخص، وجها لوجه. مدير التحرير عاده قاعد بالمكتب ورا الكمبيوتر على التليفون، بيتصلوا مثلا بيصلوا التحرير، اتصلوا القصه اللي كتبها الصحفي، ومدير التحرير بيقعد وبفكر بقول لا هالقصة ما عم يمشي حالها، لازم هاي الجملة تكون هون، هاي الجملة بدها توضيح، هذا غلط هذا صح، لازم يرجع الصحفي يحكي مع هذا الشخص أو مع هذا الشخص وإلى آخره. هاي العلاقة. طبعا في ناس بتفضل، يعني الشغلتين كتير مهمين ومهمين يشتغلوا سوا، بس في ناس بتفضل هالشغل وفي ناس بتفضل هالشغل. بصراحة الصحافة هن يعني أسهل للي أصغر وشباب أكتر ومدير التحرير يعني بكون أكبر وشوي أبطأ وإلى آخره. So just to summarize what I told them, the relationship between editors and journalists is symbiotic. They have to work together. The journalist is out in the field talking to people at the scene. Then they file the story to the editor, and the editor has to sit there, from the comfort of the office in a chair, usually behind a computer. Not very exciting, but it's exciting to get the story, and they rework the story, and then they give the journalist instructions on what they need to do to improve the story. Maybe they need to do more reporting, restructure the story, and so on.
That's great. Thank you so much. All right, last question from me before I turn it over to the kids, because they prepped some really excellent questions for you.
Yeah.
So a lot of students are on the call are currently in our storytelling for marketing and advocacy class. What would you think? What would you say is the role of storytelling in achieving a more peaceful and just world?
Storytelling, يعني إلقاء القصص. هيك محمد. يعني الواحد يحكي قصة، يعني ما في شيء، يعني ما في شيء بالتاريخ الإنسانية أقدم من قدرة الإنسان على إنه يحكي قصة، لأنه هالشيء كان موجود يعني من يعني هذا الشيء الوحيد اللي بفرقنا عن الكائنات الأخرى. البسس تبعي ما بيقدروا يحكوا قصص مثلا، بيتخانقوا مع بعض. أنا فيني أحكي قصص مع أشخاص آخرين وهن بيحكوا لي قصص، وبهالطريقة الأشخاص يعني بيتواصلوا بيتواردوا مع بعض، بصير في توارد أفكار، بصير في علاقات اجتماعية، وأصلاً المجتمع كله مكون على قصص. So storytelling, I was saying, you know, probably the oldest defining factor of humanity is the ability to tell stories and share stories, and it's what differentiates us from other species. My cats can't tell stories to each other, but I can tell stories to other people and connect with them on that level. Right, Alexis? I mean, that's, you know, it's what we do. You know, no matter what age, I mean, even toddlers tell stories or try. So, so that's the one way, the only way very often to connect to other people, regardless of language or culture or age or background or anything.
Thank you. All right, so let's open this up to our students. Who wants to go first? Who has questions for Rasha?
مين بده يبلش ويسأل أول سؤال؟
أنا أستاذ.
مريم تفضلي.
Well, first of all, I would love to say hi to Miss Rasha and Miss Charlie, and it's very nice to meet them.
Nice to meet you as well, Mariam.
It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a bit.
Me too. Actually, I miss you so much.
The same.
So yeah, should I start with the questions or?
Yeah. Let's have you ask one question and then we'll go around.
All right. So my first question to Miss Rasha is, what were your ambitions when you were young, and like when you compare your ambitions when you were young with what you have achieved, will you be satisfied with what you have achieved? In another way, let's say if you have to send a message to the young or to the past you, what would the message be?
Wonderful question. Let me tell you, I do often think about that actually. When I was growing up as a kid, I remember I used to tell my parents I wanted to be a lawyer before lunch, an astronaut after lunch, you know, something else after dinner. I mean, I could not commit to one thing. I mean, I had friends who knew all along they wanted to be a veterinarian or a doctor or an architect, and they all became that. Well, I didn't become an astronaut after lunch and a lawyer before lunch and a pilot after dinner. But I did end up, and it took me a while to get there. I did end up in a profession that allows me to sample all these different professions. If I want to write a story about astronauts, I go ahead and I do that. So that's basically how it happened. I came to it in a very indirect way, but I'm in the right profession for my temperament.
Mariam,
I can translate if you want, Muhammad.
Sure thing.
Okay. فسألتني مريم شو كان طموحي لما كنت طفلة صغيرة، وإذا هلا اللي أنا يعني accomplished. محمد شو accomplished؟
حققته.
ايوه انه بحس انه هالشي يعني راضية عنه او يعني واصل لطموحاتي والى اخره. فقلت لها انا لما كنت صغيرة كنت دائما اقول لاهلي انه يعني طبعا ما عارفه كل يوم اقول لهم شيء، بس الشغلات اللي اكثر شيء كان بدي اعملها انه كان بدي اكون رائدة فضاء وكمان كان بدي اكون محامية، وكنت حابة يكون بايلوت طيارة. بس بالأخير ويعني بعد ما درست وإلى آخره كمان صار عندي اهتمام بالاقتصاد والمصرفية والبنوك وإلى آخره. بس بالأخير لقيت حالي بالصحافة. وهل أنا رضيانة على هالشي؟ بالنسبة لطموحاتي بقول إيه أكيد، لأنه ما في مهنة تانية يعني بتعطي رضا لنوع شخصيتي أنا، لأنه بحب جرب أنواع متعددة. مثلا إذا بدي أعرف شو رائد الفضاء كيف حياتهم، بروح بحرر قصة على رواد الفضاء مثلا، ممكن روح أعمل مقابلة معهم. نفس الشيء مع أي شيء تاني. فإيه رضيانة. هاي طموحاتي كانت متعددة وغير واضحة بس بالأخير رضيانة على حالي.
All
Okay.
right. Okay. I saw Ian up. Ian had his hand up.
Ian?
Yeah. So my question is, what is the real or the main reason of the Syrian crisis? In your opinion, of course.
This is the $1 million question. Yani, how much time do you have? Okay, I will give you my opinion and I'll keep it short. Yani, basically, it's very, in any conflict, I think it's very easy. Actually, the easiest thing about any conflict is to become embroiled in it, to take sides, to to become angry, to become embroiled. And frankly, of course, for all of us, for anyone who's from Syria, we are embroiled in it, whether we like it or not, because it has affected every one of us in different ways, but every single Syrian family has been affected. But what is the reason for it? The reason for the conflict, to be honest, is like any other conflict in the history of humanity. There's fighting over control, over resources. There are a lot of too many regional powers involved, too many conflicting interests, perhaps not enough commitment to the people of Syria, to humanity, to living in peace, to protecting the environment, to developing human rights and all those things. So, that's the short of it, to be honest. But the long of it, I don't know. I've been working on a book for many years and maybe it will be published at some point and then you can read it. So, Muhammad, I'll go ahead. So, سألني شو سبب الحرب بسوريا؟ فيعني شو بدي أحكي، عم أقول يعني هذا السؤال كبير وبيتطلب وقت كتير طويل. بس مثل أي حرب بتاريخ الإنسانية، يعني حرب على Okay, Muhammad, help me out here. Just help me out with the conflict over resources and control.
المصادر والسلطة.
ايه يعني حرب على المصادر وعلى السلطة. وطبعا لما بفوت like outside forces, regional forces and so on.
لما القوات مثلا قوات خارجية خلينا نقول تصير لها علاقة بالموضوع أو تتدخل، حسب الوضع معقد أكثر. صحيح؟
والسبب يعني إنه انعدام الكوميتمنت،
خلينا نقول دعم للشعب السوري وللإنسانية.
أيوة، انعدام الدعم للشعب السوري، للإنسانية، للبيئة. على فكرة البيئة كتير مهمة، وللحقوق، حقوق الإنسان. و يعني نفس سبب أي كونفليكت بفوت على الأسرة أو على العشيرة أو على البلد، على الوطن، كله دايما نفس الشيء.
بالضبط، مثل أي مشكلة ثانية أو يصير حرب على شيء أو شجار على شيء معين، هذا الشيء نفس الشيء بس على يمكن حجم أكبر وفي تعقيدات أكثر وأطراف كثيرة أيضا.
طبعا وتفاصيل الحرب يعني، ورأيي أنا إنه شو صار بالحرب والحق عاملين وكل هالقصص هاي أنا صار لي فترة، صار لي كم سنة عم بكتب كتاب، عم حرر كتاب، وما بعرف لسه كم سنة حياخد لحتى يطلع، بس لما يطلع انتم فيكم تقروه تعرفوا رأيي، بس لهلا يعني هذا جوابي القصير.
All right. Who has a question next?
مين عنده السؤال؟ اوكي
I
هو.
see. All right, so Hiwa and Dilar.
So hi everyone. Rasha, I wanted to ask you two questions. The first is, what's the case you want to defend the most and tell the world about, and why?
Sorry, the audio wasn't, she was cutting in and out. What is the word?
What is the case you want to defend most and tell the world about, and why?
What story you mean? Like what's the most okay. What story that I've come across so far or that I still want to do?
Yeah, you still want to do.
Okay, yeah. The story that I really, really want to do is a global story from the perspective of the environment. So, and there is someone who is currently doing a story like that I'm very jealous of. And they work for the National Geographic. I forget his name now, but he has the best job in the world. He has been traveling for 7 years on foot all over the world, on foot, imagine that. And basically doing a story from everywhere he goes. And it's called slow journalism. Which is exactly what I would love to be doing, as opposed to fast journalism or our fast world everywhere we are these days. But that's what I would love to do. And then wherever I go in the world, I would want to do a story about the environment and how it affects the people who live in that area. So that's one day, maybe I'll get to do that. But in the meantime, I'm just jealous of this one guy.
Yeah, inshallah, you'll achieve that.
Thank you. So محمد اوكي فسألوني شو في قصة لسه بحب هيك عندي رغبة، عندي حرقة بقلبي انه بحب اعملها. فقلت لهم انه في قصة معينة في واحد صحفي انا ما يعني تعرفت عليه بجوز مرة، بس كتير بغار منه لأنه بصراحة هو عنده أحلى شغلة بالصحافة. بيشتغل مع مجلة National Geographic وصل له 7 سنين بحوم العالم. يعني متخيلين إنه بروح مشي من بلد لبلد، يعني بلش بإثيوبيا وراح مشي على السعودية وراح طلع لفوق على الهند وباكستان وإلى آخره. هلا بعتقد عم وصل لاوروبا، ما بعرف، بس كله مشي مشي مشي. وطبعا احيانا بيستاجر حمار واحيانا بيستاجر حصان واحيانا على العربه والى اخره. ووين ما بروح بحرر قصه على البيئه. وانا هذا اللي بحبه كثير، يعني هذا اللي بلاقيه اهم شيء بالعالم هلا، إنه الاهتمام بالبيئة والقصة على البيئة وكيف البيئة بتأثر على الناس، الأشخاص والكائنات الحية كلها اللي ساكنة هونيك. كيف إذا صار في تلوث بهالنهر كيف بأثر على الناس وعلى القرية اللي عايشة على النهر وعلى الحصان وعلى العصافير وإلى آخره. هاي القصص اللي أنا بحبها. وكمان في نوع صحافة اسمه صحافة بطيئة، اللي هو يعني الواحد بروح بيمشي سنة بالهند بعدين بيكتب قصة طويلة. هذا كتير شيء حلو وكتير صاير نادر هالأوقات، لأنه شو بصير نحن عايشين بحياة كتير هيك على السريع كل يوم بصير شيء جديد ودايما بده الأخبار، شو صار امبارح شو صار هلأ قبل ساعة. فبكون كتير شيء حلو لو يعني الصحافة البطيئة. Over to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Rasha. Dr.
زياد تفضل.
What is the cause of the conflict between the parties or to the conflict on Syria's soil, and do they have interests or plans behind this war?
Yeah, what is basically what's the future, what's the prognosis of the war, and what's the future of Syria? To be honest, I mean, I don't know, people ask me that all the time, and I just don't know what to say because I don't know. I mean, here's what we do know based on history is that wars don't last forever. You know, troubled nations eventually have to, you know, come at a crossroad and have to move forward. Is that going to happen in my lifetime or in your lifetime? I honestly, I don't know. Yeah, but I do know. I mean, I do know it is up to your generation. So many things will be up to your generation. That's really the best I have. ايه يعني مستقبل سوريا انا دائما الناس تسالني انه شو رايي وشو صار بالحرب والحق على مين وشو المستقبل وشو حيصير. ما حدا بيعرف يعني، بس فيني اقول انه الواحد دائما بحب يرجع لتاريخ الانسان ويتعلم، يعني بشوف شو صار بالتواريخ. يعني نحن بنعرف مثلا ما في ولا حرب دامت للابد، ما بتصير، هالشيء ما بصير. لما البلد كتير بتتعب وبروح المصادر تبعها وبتصير فيها نزوح، اوكي الى اي مدى بضل هالشيء؟ كمان ما بضل الى الابد، بس كيف بيتصلح وكيف يعني هالشيء، كل هالقصص هاي اشارات استفهام. بس الشيء الوحيد يلي كمان معروف انه المستقبل هو بايد الناس، بايد الشعب، بايد الاشخاص، بايدكم انتم، بايد هذا الجيل. يعني هالشيء بعتقد هذا كتير مهم الواحد يتذكر، انه لما الواحد يتساءل على مستقبل البلد، هو السؤال الحقيقة شو المستقبل تبعكم؟ عرفت كيف؟ وكيف مستقبلكم ممكن يأثر على البلد، كيف ممكن يحسن البلد، سواء رجعتوا على البلد أو لا. هالشي يعني هذا ما معروف. فهذا جوابي. To you, Charlie.
Thank you. Let's go to Dilar.
Yeah, so for you, having been or having lived in Syria in both situation, peace and war, prompts me to wonder about one thing, and that's what I'm going to ask you. From your perspective, what is dead in Syria and what is still alive now?
I think hope is always alive. Always. Even though sometimes it gets strangulated. But hope will always be alive. And you know, what is dead, I think, you know, in many ways law and order is, you know, is very challenged. I don't know if it's dead. You know, what can I tell you? I'm sure, of course, Syria is at the forefront of your minds, all of you. I don't know. That's really all I can say. There's, you know, we're all in it together. We're, there's, you know, that's really, yeah, it just kind of gets me stumped every time, I'm sorry to say. But we're all in it together, you know, whether those who live there and those who live in camps and those who live in exile and those who live abroad, and, you know, so on. I don't know if that answers your question. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
انه يعني دائما الناس تحب تسالني على سوريا وشو رايي وكذا، ما عندي الاجوبه ابدا. But I will tell you this actually, because recently I was working on a story that's going to come out soon, and it's about like hope of a nation and how to build a nation and all that stuff. And my perspective, of course, I'm a writer, so and if you look at the history of humanity, my perspective is writing, not just writing, but all forms of art, all forms of creativity, including journalism, which I consider a creative form of art. All that is how you build a future. That is how you imagine a future, and then you move toward it. That is how you build a nation, to create, you create something out of nothing. And that's where, that's sort of the crossroad that Syria is at right now, is needing to imagine a future, so that the country can move toward it and can start to create it. So محمد ما بعرف، يعني لما الناس بتسألني على سوريا طبعا ما حدا بيعرف شو حيصير والى اخره، بس في شيء واحد انا دائما بتذكره كصحفيه وككاتبه، وكمان بما انه عندي كثير اصدقاء بالفنون، وكمان في كثير سوريين فنانين وشعراء والى اخره. يعني الفن والابداع والكتابه والرسم اي شيء فن، اي شيء ابداع، لما الواحد يعني بيخلق شيء من ولا شيء، هذا الإبداع هاي بهالطريقة الإنسان بيتصور المستقبل تبعه وتبع بلده وتبع أهله وتبع أولاده وإلى آخره. الإبداع هو مفتاح كل شيء، مفتاح المستقبل، مفتاح الأمل. فأنا بقول للواحد شو ما بكون الظروف تبعه، أي بلد خلقان، شو كان الظروف، حرب إلى آخره، ما حدا بيقدر ياخد منه حق الإبداع، لأنه الإبداع الواحد بيقدر يعمله حتى يعني بالسرير تحت الحرام عم يكتب أو عم يرسم أو حتى عم بفكر أو موسيقى أو أي شيء. الإبداع هو الشيء، يعني الشيء الوحيد اللي بالفعل بخلينا موصولين مع مستقبلنا.
Can I add one more thing? One more question. You're speaking of creativity. So, do you believe that creativity will be beneficial currently in Syria, in the current time in Syria? If yes, how?
Yes. First of all, a society without creativity is a dead society, as far as I'm concerned. Yani only dead people have no creativity. We all have creativity. We just have to foster it and encourage it in different ways. It manifests in different ways. Not everybody's creative in the same way. But I understand it can be very difficult in Syria today to express oneself, because it's still, there are many problems. You can get in trouble, so on and so forth. But creativity doesn't have to be confrontational. So if the environment is dangerous or oppressive, creativity by definition is creative. It can be less confrontational. So for example, if you're a writer and you start writing very hard-hitting political commentary inside Syria today, you might get in trouble. But if you're a writer, the same writer, if you decide, you know what, I'm just gonna write a novel, science fiction novel. You know, I heard that the UAE now sent a probe to Mars, and NASA landed on Mars. How cool is that? Okay, well, let me write a story that's science fiction, and that has, because if you're creating, you are automatically incorporating your immediate life and immediate context into the story. So your story is still subversive. What's subversive, Muhammad, بالعربي? يعني it can still challenge.
تتحدى؟
ايه تتحدى بالضبط. You can write a science fiction story that is very subversive, that challenges the problems that are in your immediate environment that need to change. And you can do that without, you know, sending the fire alarm bells and all the police and all the secret police and everyone coming after you, you know? It's a science fiction story. Everybody would love to read it, or young people love to read it. And it gives ideas, it challenges questions, it inspires. So of course, creativity is paramount. I would say it's as important as the air we breathe and the water we drink, creativity. So, Muhammad. I'll try.
أكيد. أنا راح أساعدك أو بدك أنت تساعديني بالعكس.
Okay, تفضل. Okay, I'll give it a try. الإبداع هو أهم شيء. يعني بيسألني زميلكم إذا الإبداع مهم بسوريا. طبعا لأنه أنا بقول يعني الأشخاص الوحيدين يلي لا يبدعوا يعني هم بصراحة الأموات. يعني فقط الميت لا يبدع لأنه ميت، ولكن الحي يعني هاي هي صورة الواحد إنه يكون حي، إنه يكون عنده إبداع، إنه بفيق الصبح في تصوير بيتصور بخيالته مثلا شو بده اليوم يكون. أنا اليوم بدي كذا، بدي أعمل كذا، بدي أحرر موضوع يعني إلى آخره. هذا نوع من الإبداع. تصوير للمستقبل، حتى لو تصوير بسيط للنهار نفسه، يعني الواحد بفيق وبصور النهار كيف بده يكون. بس بالنسبة للإبداع مثلا طبعا ممكن يكون خطير ببيئة معينة. مثلا إذا بيئة لا تتقبل التحدي، مثلا في كتير محلات بسوريا هيك هلأ الآن. فأنا أعطيت مثل، إذا واحد كاتب مثلا وإذا كتب مقال رأي عم يتحدى الوضع العام سياسيا مثلا أو اقتصاديا، ممكن جدا إنه يفوت بمشاكل، ممكن جدا إنه يصير تصادم مع السلطات، مزبوط. ولكن ما في ضروري إنه الواحد يتصادم. ممكن بدل ما يكتب مقال رأي، إذا المجتمع لا يتقبل هذا الشيء في هذا الوقت، ممكن أن يكتب رواية مثلا، وخاصة رواية ساينس فيكشن،
خيال علمي.
ايه خيال علمي مثلا. أنا بقيان هلا بفكري لأنه عم بكتب مقال على الخيال العلمي. بس يعني مثلا الرواية، أي رواية حتى يعني أي خيال بصير يعني التصادم أقل مع المجتمع، وبالعكس بصير في تقبل، لأنه بصير ما حدا بخاف، ما حدا بيتشنج، ما حدا بيقول كيف هيك تكتب والله حقت لك. لا خلص يعني هذا رواية خيالية، ممكن أي حدا يعني يتفهمها، كتير interesting إلى آخره. فبهالطريقة بصير يعني في تواصل فكري وإبداع عن جيل كامل. بهالطريقة الوطن بيتعمر بصراحة يعني بالإبداع بالأفكار، وشوي شوي بيتوسع مجال المجال يلي بيقدر الشخص إنه يعبر عن نفسه، يعني بصير ببطل فيها التصادم وهيك هالحصر إنه لا ممنوع هيك تقول ممنوع هيك تفكر. شوي شوي يعني بصير المجتمع بيتقبل أفكار جديدة وإلى آخره. Over to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Rasha. All right, I think we have time for one more quick question from the kids, and then we'll start. We'll start our last bits of time here. Who has a question?
السؤال الأخير، مين رح يسأل آخر سؤال؟
أنا
مين ما سأل؟ ندى.
أستاذ سؤالي هو شو هي صفات المراسل الناجح؟
What are the qualities of a good?
صفات المراسل الناجح, qualities of a successful journalist. I would say the most important thing is curiosity. Curiosity بالعربي. الفضول. Absolutely, that curiosity. دائما يكون في فضول.
The cat.
Curiosity. Yeah. No. Curiosity doesn't kill the cat. I disagree. My 2 cats are very curious when they're alive. But okay, smart curiosity, obviously. Yeah, you don't want to jump into a well because you're curious what's at the bottom. Curiosity, but also I would say listening, the ability to listen. يعني القدرة على الاستماع, لأنه كتير ناس إذا بتلاحظوا كتير صعب القدرة على الاستماع, يعني هاي القدرة الواحد بنميها. فمثلا إذا الواحد عنده فضول بكون ممتاز, بس بعدين لما بروح مثلا بده يحكي مع الناس ويعمل معهم مقابلات مشان ياخد أفكارهم, أهم شيء إنه النصت, الاستماع, إنه شو عم يحكوا, حتى لو هن اللي بيقولوه واللي عم يحكوا شيء يعني مختلف تماماً عن آرائكم أو إلى آخره. الصحفي بعد فترة ببطل يكون عنده آراء شخصية على فكرة, من كتر ممارسة هالاستماع والفضول, لأنه بيتعلم إنه أي حدا, كل حدا بالعالم عنده رأي, وكل حدا بحسب هو رأيه أحسن شيء. فإنه يعني فلا ما في داعي إنه الواحد يحمل رأيه ويقول لا أنا أحسن شيء, لأنه كل العالم هيك. بس لما الواحد بفوت بالصحافة بصير بياخد آراء العالم, بصير مثل بشوف يعني موزاييك, بشوف الصورة هيك الكبيرة للمجتمع اللي عايش فيه, الآراء المتعددة اللي بالمجتمع اللي فيه, وهكذا بصير يعني صحفي وبحرر أفكار وإلى آخره. فهي I was saying the most important qualities in a journalist is curiosity, but also the ability to listen. So even when the opinions are very different from your own or whatnot, you know, that's basically how you become a journalist.
Those both of them are excellent skills to hone, irrespective to what job you end up with, right?
Exactly.
One last question from Gihan.
جهاد. صوتك مو كتير واضح جهاد, يمكن إذا تعلي صوتك شوي.
Maybe she can type it, or just like send. Yeah, maybe without the video. Yeah.
All right. I'll ask the question that she prepared ahead of time for you,
Okay.
Rasha.
Yeah.
So she wanted to know what was the most important stage in your life, and what is your favorite stage in your life?
Most important stage. And what is favorite? Okay, so gosh, every stage is so important in many different ways. I mean, graduating high school felt like, wow, felt like the most important thing ever. And then, you know, a few decades later, that's not even, you know, I mean, so it's hard to say. Every stage is important, but as for favorite stages, I do have favorite stages. You know, for some strange reasons, I love my early 30s. I don't know why. I like my early 30s better than my 20s. I like now, which now I'm 51 or 2, I don't remember, but I like it. It's you know, it's very interesting. So for some reason I glance over my 20s and my 40s, I barely remember for some strange reason. So that's, you know, what can I say? I mean, that's, I would say, but there was a question earlier that I didn't, I forgot to answer, and that's what would I tell my earlier self?
Yes.
If I could go back, I would say, don't worry so much about everything. Just focus on in the moment, do your best, always be creative. You know, always find something that gives you this sense of purpose, this sense of passion, you know, something creative like that. And it could be, I mean, by creative, I mean even like service to others. Some people love that, find their passion in that way. Some people love to paint. Some people are musicians, you know, love music. So that would be my message to myself, is just don't worry. Just don't. There's not much you can do to, you know, I mean, you do your best, and then your life unfolds. What can you do?
سؤال جيهان كان مثل ما هي كتبت كمان انه اي فترة كانت اهم فترة مريتي فيها بحياتك، وكمان اي فترة هي كانت المفضلة عندك بحياتك. مثل ما تفضلت رشا، كل الفترات مهمة بحياتها هي برأيها. مثلا فترة المراهقة كانت بتحس انه هذا اهم شيء، اهم انجاز عملته انه خلصت الهاي سكول او الثانوية، وبعدها شافت انه كل مرة انه الفترة اللي عم تمر بها هي مهمة، فكل الفترات هي مهمة بحياتها. السؤال الثاني كان انه شو الفترة المفضلة عندك؟ الجواب كان بداية الثلاثينات، صحيح هالفترة، وكمان الفترة الحالية اللي هي فيها
بداية الخمسينات هلا. بجوز محمد بيخجل يقول عمري، بس ما I just thought he might be, he seems to be a little too embarrassed to say my age. I'm like, you have permission to say my age?
I forgot that part. كمان المقطع الأخير لما ذكرت إنه شيء بخصوص الإبداع، صحيح، إنه الشخص يكون مبدع ويركز باللحظة اللي هو عايشها، بالمرحلة اللي هو عايشها، بالطموحة الحالية خلال كل مراحل حياته، فهذا الشيء كثير مهم.
وإذا فيني أرجع إلى الماضي وأقول شيء لحالي وأنا أصغر، بقول إنه يعني ما أكون ما not to worry so much.
وإذا كان عندها فرصة مثلا تعطي نصيحة لنفسها وهي بعمر أصغر، كانت راح تقول إنه لا تقلقي كثير ولا تشيلي هم.
بالضبط بالضبط، ودائما أبدعي.
بالضبط، كلنا نحتاج نصيحة.
All right, Rasha, I think it's your turn. You get to ask our kids questions. What would you like to know from them in the time we have left?
I would like to know how they envision their future.
هلا بالعكس صار هلا رشا عندها سؤال لكم وهو كيف تتخيلوا مستقبلكم؟
Who would like to go first?
مين بيحب يجاوب بالبداية؟
I will answer it. In short, since you said that hope is still alive in Syria, so maybe I am just not only optimistic of the future, I'm also curious about it. So since we all have the hope, and hopefully we will do much things. And our main goal will be, of course, to rebuild our country.
Yes,
As possible as we can.
absolutely.
Just in short.
Absolutely.
دولار باختصار جاوب السؤال اللي هو قال بما انه رشا ذكرت انه لسه في امل بسوريا هو عم يتخيل انه يعمر البلد او باكثر طريقه ممكنه او باللي قدر يعمله. صحيح دولار؟
ايه صح مظبوط.
Anyone else wants to share?
So hi everyone. At the first, I don't know. So my future. So I'm in my last year in high school. So there's a lot of pressure. And I'm too much like I'm so nervous about like the future. So the people around me expect a lot from me, and I don't want to disappoint them. So I don't know. I mean, I have couple of things in my mind, but I'm just gonna wait and see how it would like be. Yeah.
Okay.
هو بما انه هي اخر مرحله بالمدرسه في كذا سيناريو او بالها او افكار لسه راح تشوف راح تنتهي هاي السنه وبعدين تقدر تكون عندها فكره اوضح للمستقبل تبعها. مين كمان بيحب يجاوب سؤال؟
أنا أساس
ايه ندى؟
إنه أكون شخصية ناجحة بحياتي العملية وفيد حالي وأهلي والمجتمع تبعنا، يعني أقدر أغير تفكير الناس، طريقة تفكيرهم كتير أشياء لأشياء إيجابية مشان نطور حالنا، يكون مجتمع ناجح.
Nada answered the question that she wants to be successful in her career and help her family and also change the mindset of people in her community and create change.
I see Mahi's hand up and Ayan.
So for now, actually, I just want to be a person that I'm going to be proud of in the future and be so satisfied with myself and achieve something that I'll be proud of and happy of. And also, I want like to support a lot of creative people in the future so that I'll get like, you know, I will be a person that others will take my way in the future. I really want to do that. Yeah.
حلو. ما هي ذكرت انه هي
النت كتير ضعيف، ما بعرف اذا سمعتوا او لا.
سمعنا ما هي ذكرت انه بدها تحقق شيء تفتخر فيه بالمستقبل وتحقق انجاز كنت فخوره فيه وكمان تكون تدعم انت ذكرتي ما هي تدعم الاشخاص المبدعين ولا انا سمعت غير شيء؟
ايه يا
بظن تدعم انه الاشخاص المبدعين.
All right. I think we'll take Ayan last, and then Ayan and Miriam, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, I am.
So I don't know how my future will be, and I'm really worried about it. But however, the situation was and will be in the future. Doesn't matter. I want to be like a change maker by being like an iconic person in my community and make a change, like a huge change.
آية ذكر أنه هو يقلق بعض الأحيان عن بخصوص المستقبل وما متأكد شلون راح يكون المستقبل، بس كيف ما حيكون هو بده يكون صانع تغيير ويكون شخص مؤثر بمجتمعه.
That's fantastic, Ayan. And Miriam?
Yes, so the question was, how do we see our future? And as we know, the future is unknown and we don't know what is, but we gotta expect the unexpected. For me, I really want to be the person that I'm dreaming of, and I want to really achieve all my dreams and my goals. And as you know, the curiosity is a very important thing to be a successful person. And so I have I want to just add a question, which is what advices Miss Rasha give us to the people who have dreams and who have dreams that are bigger than their society and community they live in, especially when we should put in mind that they don't have that much opportunities to make their dreams come true, or like what key does she give us to make our dreams come true or make us like more optimistic, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what advices do you give us to make like the key to our hands to make our goals and dreams come true, be more optimistic in future and look forward?
Yes, absolutely. How to navigate the how to navigate the lack of opportunity and all the challenges that may arise. I mean, I will tell you that there is nothing that is comparable to not just creativity in producing something creative. Like, I'm not just necessarily talking about making art. I'm talking about sort of creating the future that you want in your mind. And it may be an ideal that you can never reach. I mean, for example, I could never have become an astronaut. That's just a fact. It just wasn't going to happen. But
it was one of your dreams.
It was one of my dreams for sure. But as you know, as reality shapes the dream, you find a way, you find a negotiated place between the reality and the dream, where you're still doing what you dream of doing, but it doesn't look like you imagined. It actually looks very different.
Yes, it is.
So yes, sorry.
I said sometimes when you like imagine your dreams and then you wake up to the reality, you feel like all your dreams are falling down. Like, I don't know if this like happening to anyone else, but I don't know. Maybe it's because of the society, or like, you know, we're living in a camp and every time we look around, you don't see anything positive or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, do you have a specific example of a dream that you feel just kind of falls when you wake up in the morning?
Well, it's not that impossible when you work on it. I actually really want to be a doctor, and at the same time, I don't want to like study in one of the like colleges here. Like, I really want to study abroad, like in America or Britain, one of these like the biggest colleges, you know, like to study medicine there. So that's one of my dreams. But yeah, when you like look at it and you say it's kind of impossible or you can't make it, So that's kind of like, I don't know, like it hurts. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, I mean, look, it's nothing. Yes, I mean, first of all, very few things are impossible. Going to medical school in the UK or the US is not an impossibility. That is within the realms of possibility. It may be difficult, it may be sort of difficult to figure out how to get from where I am right here, right now, to over there, which seems like, wow, it's such a high leap to get to, but that is not in the realms of impossibility at all. So you want to study medicine because you want to become a doctor, focus on that. Keep the focus, keep wanting to go to medical school in the UK or the US, even browse, go see medical schools on the internet if you have good internet, and go to different campuses and dream about it. There's no harm in that, but don't get down on yourself when you wake up in the morning and you're like, but that's over there and I'm over here, because that's okay. I mean, and actually over here where you are is where you are probably needed the most at the moment, and probably after you graduate medical school anyway. I mean, your community will always need you, whether you go to school locally or in the US or whatnot. Keep the dream alive. Don't let that get you down. Don't worry about that so much. Just move forward tenaciously toward medical school, toward becoming a doctor. Keep, there is the power to visualizing and to
we should keep a light in our hearts. Like, you should keep our light.
Absolutely.
Our hearts.
Absolutely. Nothing is, I mean, some things are impossible. I wanted to be an astronaut. That was impossible. I still want to live on Mars. I swear I do, but that's just not possible. And there are a lot of, I mean, that's in many ways the beauty of life, because I keep reminding myself, only dead people don't have these big dreams and hopes and things and heartbreaks that, oh, I didn't get that and I wanted this. And I mean, that's the beauty of life. Don't let that get to you. It's and yes, you might feel like you have less opportunity than you deserve, but that is definitely not a like a مانع. يعني هذا ليس مانع للمستقبل. You can still
limit.
Yeah, that
doesn't
does
limit
not
you.
limit what you want to do. Well, it may shape it just because we're born in certain with certain constraints. That's just how it is right now. But we can still do our absolute best, and there's no reason to feel down or be disappointed in that at all.
Rasha, as someone that was your roommate and friend when we were their age, we lived together and were friends at 17.
Yeah.
And I remember Rasha saying some of the things that Miriam's expressing right now. But I'm now in the position that I've watched her life unfold. So I can look back and remember when she expressed what you were feeling and saying, and wanting to go back to Syria, wanting to go back home, and thinking things like that would never happen, that she would never see and feel and taste and remember some of the things that she'd lost. She did. She also turned her dream. When we were in high school, she wanted to be an attorney, which I thought sounded, very intimidating and incredibly smart, and she was. But that sense of sort of social justice and wanting to make the world better, wanting it to be different than it was for us in that moment, was something that even when it looked like it wouldn't be possible, became possible. So even though if every day you wake up and think there are limitations, take the risk. Don't be afraid of what other people think. Don't be afraid of when people tell you you can't do something or you won't have an opportunity. Keep moving forward. Don't let it get you down.
And keep envisioning the future that you want, you know, even if it's just this image that you go to when you fall asleep and you just give it all your desires, and then the next day, you know, if medical school in America still seems so far away and unclear how you're going to get there, it doesn't matter. The road is not always clear. And, you know, you will either get there or you are going to want to change things and choose what you have here. There's, you know, there's, just don't let anything get you down. It is not worth it. That is one piece of advice I would give my earlier self. Just don't. Just keep moving, keep.
It's like the saying
moving,
that says,
keep hoping.
I want to say it's like the saying that says never lose hope. You never know what tomorrow will bring. So I think we have to be optimistic. Yes.
Exactly.
And that was very kind of you to give us some advices. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Anytime, it's my pleasure. You guys made my day. It's the highlight of my day. Everything else is boring.
I just want to say thank you to Rasha for spending the time with us and with our students. And for all of our students, I myself, Alexis, Andra, who's on this call as well, we all know what big dreams you guys have. And not just the size of your dreams, but how much courage you guys show every day in striving for those dreams against all the odds, against the culture and the community and the limits of opportunities. And that we're here for you. I created this organization, and you know, we do the work that we do with the hopes of filling in the in-between steps for you guys, right? So that you guys will have the skills and the knowledge and the know-how to be able to, you know, make that leap and reach for that dream. So I just always want you guys to know that.
And I would add that I want you all to know how much we genuinely believe in all of you.
بالأخير بس
Thank you so much.
نتشكر رشا كونها معنا اليوم، وللكل كل الطلاب. شارلي كانت بتقول عن نفسها وعن أليكسس وعن أندرا، هي إحنا عم نشوف الأحلامكم وبنعرف فيها من هالفترة اللي كلها قضيناها معكم، وعم نشوف كمان مو بس الأحلامكم وإنما شجاعتكم لحتى توصلوا لهالأحلام واللي عم تعملوه لحتى تحققوها. وإحنا موجودين لهالشيء لحتى نملي الفراغات بين خطواتكم بالحياة، بين الإنجازات اللي عم تعملوها أو الخطوات اللي عم تخطوها، لحتى تكون عندكم المهارات، المعلومات الكافية حتى تساعدكم طريقكم. وهو هذا أساس المنظمة اللي سوتها شارلي. وأليكسس كمان ذكرت إنه بدنا نأكد إنه إحنا كتير نؤمن فيكم. لازم تخلوها يعني تذكروا هالشيء دائما، إنه إحنا كتير نؤمن فيكم.
So thank you all so much. It was really good to see you guys today, and a big hand to Rasha. Thank you so much again for spending the time with us today.
Thank you to all of you and each one of you, and to Charlie and Alexis and to Muhammad for doing, you know, what you know, the God's work actually is teaching. I mean, that is just wonderful.
Thank you.
And to all of you. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, absolutely.
All right. You guys have class with Mr. Muhammad tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys very soon.
Okay. Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.